Hey guys, it's Junior. Welcome back to my channel here at Horsepower Warehouse. Today we are tasked with a unique opportunity, and that is the basis of today's thumbnail. If you guys are interested in all my other projects, and we're going to go into the sales side and show you some new cars, but before we dive into that, I want to jump into today's main source of content, which is this Bloomington Gold. I'm actually going to call this video Polishing Gold. This is a 1967 427 Tri-Power Bloomington Gold awarded car. As you can see, I have the gold certification here. It had 270 points deducted of the total 8,475 points. Anything under 424 points is considered gold status, so this car is well within that qualification range. This is an absolutely gorgeous car. I'm just going to walk around it and kind of show you guys what I'm seeing. When this one pulled in the parking lot, I said the same thing that probably a lot of you guys are saying. Why is this here? Surely you maybe have to do an oil change, adjust the tire pressures, you know, put some washer fluid in the bottle. I mean, what is there left to do on a car of this caliber? Well, that's a good question. And that's one that the owner sought to answer when he brought it here. I had no idea, you know, what I was gonna find once I got it on my lift. We knew that this car already judged out, so obviously it was built correctly to a high regard. This one was actually built in 2003. This is now 2023, so this is a 20-year-old build. As you can see on the odometer, it's got 1,215 miles on the clock. So 20-year-old build with 1,200 miles on it. When the gentleman purchased it, I believe it had something in the realm of 700 miles. He put a couple more on it, just enjoying the car. But why is it here? I got it on the lift, and I'm not going to spoil all of the content because you're going to have to follow me. You're going to have to subscribe and follow along, because I'm not going to spoil what I found on this car in today's content, but I wanted to introduce it because we get to play a really neat game here with this car. I need to correct what is wrong with it, number one. Number two, I need to improve it. How do I improve it? Well, you guys know I do this type of build on almost everything because this is my preference. And a lot of my customers just agree with my mindset in trying to build the best quality Corvette that I can without, you know, being tied to a set of rules like the Bloomington Gold or NCRS books. And I do have major respect for those foundations, but I'm not going to let them dictate to me how to build a better car, and that's what I'm after. So what can I do on this? It's kind of a points game. I'm going to improve the car, but I'm also going to make it worth more in terms of points. So I can powder coat the chassis. I know that's going to be a deduction. I can add the stainless brake lines and the stainless fuel lines, and I can do a couple of things here to improve this car and make it a much better car to actually enjoy. Now, it doesn't matter if you're going to just park it in your garage and never start it. Probably not. It really doesn't. Why powder coat a chassis if you're just going to do what this car for the last 20 years did, which is sit? You know, inevitably the rubber bushings, you know, anything, even with it properly winterized, you know, age happens, even in a climate controlled garage. So that's one of the, just a sneak peek of what we're gonna find on this car once we dive into it. But I want to improve it without devaluing it. In fact, I want to raise the value of this car by making it a better car and worth more points in the process. What I'm gonna do is go through this Bloomington judging sheet. I'm going to go through every point deduction. I'm going to improve everything that we can within, you know, the economics of our budget here, and also improve the car as a total. So I'm really excited for this build, and I'm just honored that people are bringing us the best in the country to improve. This is what I love to do best. I mean, I'm capable of taking cars that came in basket case form, like this one and that one, and I make them beautiful cars. That's what we do here. But I can also take the best in the country and improve it. I've done this a lot. I've done it both ways. I've also done cars where I'm just doing it by the book and I'm improving it points wise. You bring it here with a judging sheet and say, hey Junior, how can I improve my car to make it hey Denny, how are you? Denny Ponolite, one of the best motorcycle builders in the world right there. Interrupted my YouTube video, but totally worth it. I love this man. This is kind of, I mean, this is what I love to do. I love the transformation, but I love to show what my shop has. So yeah, let's move on because I have a lot more to show you guys. 64 still on the lift here waiting for parts. Senior is on top of that one. Another 64 here. This one is off of the rotisserie now. I mean, the fiberglass repairs are probably some of the most intensive that we've done in the shop, and that says a lot. This car was crumbled. I mean, it was hit everywhere. All of the major bonding strips were blown apart. We're going through kind of the ringer on the repair of this car, but as you can see, I mean, we've got the rear bonding strips in. They are solid as a rock. Same thing with this side. I go above and beyond with our products, and it's also prep work. You can use the best product in the world, but if you don't have a properly prepped surface, even the best epoxies need something to grab to. So if you don't know the proper procedure and how to use the best products in the world, it's all for nothing. You're just wasting money on high-end stuff. So we're going through and making sure that this thing is 10 times what it should be in terms of a fiberglass repair for the C2 Corvette, and instead this thing is like earthquake status right now. It could go through an earthquake, so to speak, and yeah, it's rock. It's flexible, so you have to balance it. You want it strong, but you still want it flexible, so that way it's not brittle and it doesn't crack. And I've got that dialed. Here's a sneak peek of what I'm about to show you guys, little Laguna. My 63 is getting ready to head off the paint, hopefully this week. Painter is making room and gearing up. We're getting all the supplies ready, so that one should be going off the paint. This one we do have a chassis lined up for, so I'm going to get the replacement chassis. The engine is still at my machine shop right now, along with this guy's engine. So we are waiting for the chassis to come. Once the engine comes in the chassis, everything will go out to powder coat and we'll begin reassembly on this one. This 67, you can see we've continued with the reassembly on the chassis. Just kind of going through, taking our time and making sure everything is done just top notch. Also waiting for an engine, as I mentioned, from the machine shop. So eager to put this one back together. My 63, I'm now on the interior portion where I'm rebuilding a whole bunch of just little stuff right now. And I'm also working on engine bay on this car. This 63 is gearing up to be mounted to the rotisserie. Ooh, do we have Sean peeking out from behind there? Oh, I see him. This one is getting ready to be mounted to rotisserie so that we can continue the fiberglass repairs. I'll go more in depth into this car once we dive into it. I know of a couple things that are going to need replaced. I definitely know of a couple things that are going to need serious repaired. But nonetheless, this car is going to be gorgeous on the backside, so I'm confident in our abilities to make this thing back to normal. 66 Nassau car should have air conditioning this week. Once I get the AC kit, I can do the remainder of the dash installation. In the meantime, I am working on windows, some of the engine bay. I still have to mount front bumpers. The grille on this car was just unsavable, and unfortunately, if you are in the position of needing a new grille for a 1966 Corvette, you are in a bad spot because they don't reproduce them. The NOS grills, the new old stock grills, are not only huge money, but they are still 1966 grills. So you're ultimately going to get a pitted grill and spend, $1,500+ for the privilege of doing so. So I have located a really good grill core that we are going to have refurbished. That's really the only way to get it dialed for this car. The grill that came with the car is just not even a usable core. Unfortunately, it was absolutely smoked. And I want this car to be, you know, up to my quality standards of all the rest of the builds. So that was an expensive endeavor, but that's not gonna hold me up. I refuse to be held up by a part, so that's where we're at with that one. Man, just look at this thing. When it pulled up in the parking lot, the guy, you know, is smiling. He's, you know, ear to ear smile. I'm like, man, what do you want me to do with this? It's in the sun, it pops. It really does. Just a really good color combination. The Stinger hood with the black and the red, classic Corvette colors. You can see we have some new additions over here in the way of Mustangs. Both of these ones are actually supercharged. So yeah, you know, I have a soft spot for these Celine's. I was the proud owner of a 2005 Celine, number 706. I'm still looking for her. If you ever see that one come for sale, please, horsepowerwarehouse@aol.com. I would love to buy my car back. Our big block is the new recipient of a set of exhaust manifolds. You can see we got the terrible headers off of it. So this one should be going for sale probably in the next couple of days. It's pretty much there. It needs a full detail at this point. And the bottom kind of washed off. Obviously we have new tires that we have to take this blue stuff off of, but yeah, this car has really come out nice. So that one will be for sale. This one is already sold, the 66 427. Gentleman has us doing a power brake conversion on the way out. So we're gonna go ahead and slip a booster in there, and it will benefit from power brakes before it is shipped out to him. This one I believe is also got the sold. Yes, it does, the 65. We have 66 here. This one is still available for sale. And then we have 64, 5, and 6 are all still available for sale as well. This one is just, if you follow the channel, you know I have done a frame off restoration on this. Pretty much everything but the paint job. It also got aftermarket air conditioning, sailcloth top, just a beautiful triple black. How do you complain about that? This one is new up. Due to go through service, I've already got a parts order coming for this car. Laguna Blue, 1966 only color, on bright blue interior, which is a really unique combination. I don't know if I've seen a Laguna Blue on bright blue 66 come through yet. I mean, I like the 1966 only colors. You gotta admit, they just really, they nailed it in 66 with the Mosport green. You guys know I built a Mosport big block previously on this channel. And then, of course, this Laguna is just incredible. I know the fluorescent lights here in the shop are not doing this justice, but this one will be for sale. It's coming up. I would be amiss in not talking about this Chevelle, a 70 396 factory AC car, power brakes, power steering, all the goodies, in an absolutely gorgeous package. I really like the wide ovals, vinyl top, Hurst on the floor, gorgeous interior. This is a really cool car to cruise around in, I bet. Classic muscle car right there. Another Camaro. I don't know if you guys can see or not. This one actually has ghost stripes in it. When it's out in the sun, it's even harder to see than here in the fluorescent lights, but kind of neat. And we'll probably cap today's video off with this AAT. Have you guys been watching me long enough to see our previous one? I actually sold a white one. I believe the white one we sold was number 30 something. So at the very end of the run, if I'm not mistaken. I did actually do a little bit of research on these cars, and I found something that said they only made around 200 of them. So I'm not sure how that lines up with the car that we previous had, but these are all C5 Corvettes that they have done a complete conversion on to stylize as a 1953 Corvette. People either really like this car or it just does not do it for them. I will say this, whether you like the styling or not, the quality of this kit is probably one of the nicest aftermarket kits that I've seen. This of course is not something that you can buy and put on at home in your garage. These cars were all built in a factory by this manufacturer, so that probably has a lot to do with why the fit and finish of these kits is so spectacular. But they weren't cheap either. I mean, these were over $100,000 cars if I'm not mistaken. So comment down below, do you love it or do you hate it? It seems like it's one or the other for sure. Well, thank you guys for joining me yet again. I'm gonna get back to work over there in the shop. I'm probably, the next video, gonna try to do a little bit of diving into the builds rather than just showing you progress, because that's kind of where my heart is kind of teaching you guys how I do things as I go along. I only have so much time in the day, and of course I'm building cars, but I definitely enjoy having you guys with me, and I'm glad you appreciate the content I'm putting out for you. So thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, take care.